Hey, how's it going everyone? It is Gajeel. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest. Chapter 187, Shining Salvation in a Pinch. The cover page for this chapter is kind of a recap of all the battles that had previously happened with all of the Sace. I honestly kind of love these when they pop up just because I like the chibi faces. Usually they're on a map and not just straight up only the verses as literally the whole cover. So the chapter picks up with Midnight fighting Zero. Also kind of interesting that Zero has flames coming off of him, or just some magic aura of some kind. And I feel like Natsu really broke Zero because literally the only thing he's possibly interested in is destroying Fairy Tale. Honestly, Midnight does not care what his motivations are because he just straight up attacks him with Spiral Pain. Honestly, doesn't even seem to phase Zero, to where he just literally shakes it off and just follows it up with a Dark Rondo, which Midnight just reflects. And I think it's super interesting to follow up here because obviously he's doing this reflection to bounce the spell off of him. But since Zero taught Midnight magic, which probably was Brain actually, he just straight up undoes that spell, causing Midnight to get attacked, which is kind of cool. I kind of love this. Kind of love that it's not really even so much the magic that hits him, he just straight up elbows him to the face. Midnight kind of took it personally because he's like, you can undo my magic and think you know everything, but I'll teach you something brand new. Kind of cool that you get to know that Midnight can at least enchant on himself, but he enchants Dark Rondo onto his fist, and it is very much similar to Natsu, which he probably did get inspired by him because it kind of looks like Fire Dragon Iron Fist, which that does seem to finally do something against Zero, which actually does send Zero flying back, which even he points out that it's very similar to Natsu's attack. Seems like Midnight was literally following up with the same attack again, which I actually kind of love when he punches them, the spirals around them have a little face on them. And Zero honestly is still pretty much exactly the same person, with him saying you know nothing of darkness. And honestly, Midnight has grown quite a bit, I no longer need to cry anymore in the middle of the night. But we get the return of the glorious Genesis Zero, which I always love the look of this attack. It's so cool in the Arashio and Sace arc. I love the green ghosts. But Midnight was completely ready for this situation, which is a pretty unique way to take this down. Doing a spell named Completion Infinity and just straight up purifying that Genesis Zero spell to where it just completely nullifies it. And Zero actually seems kind of worried about the spell because it's purifying his magic of the dead and it's just making it straight up disappear, which Midnight comments, yeah, you're also going to disappear because you also had been dead too, which actually does start to seem like he's being purified and he's about to disappear. I think this is maybe one of the most interesting things in this chapter is that Zero turns back into Brain. I think it's super interesting that he just immediately switched the personality. Brain starts using Archive to figure out a way to null and void Midnight's spell, which he pretty much does immediately, and also at the same time also switches back to Zero, which I think is such an interesting mechanic for him that he can switch between the personalities on the fly, which I feel like is more or less Zero's will. But kind of interesting that Zero wouldn't be able to apparently use Archive, even though Brain can, but you'd think they'd share the same knowledge. Which with Zero back in the helm, he hits Midnight with a Dark Gravity attack, which seems to do quite a bit of damage to the area and honestly just seems like it makes Midnight fall. With that, it makes it seem like every member of the Sace is currently defeated except for Cobra and Racer. Midnight apparently defeated right here, which is where Melody starts to kind of wiggle around and show that she's not fully dead yet, which she's about to get chucked back into the Demon Gateway to be fully finished off. But before Melody can be fully finished, she gets saved by someone. And who better to save Melody than her literal best friend, Juvia, which Juvia is also in a brand new outfit, which I really am digging the brand new outfit here. I'm going to love to see what this is going to look like in color. And I have no idea how Juvia even got here, but apparently she was able to sense Melody was in trouble since they had that sensory link, and I guess there was still residual magic from that, so she figured out that she was in trouble. But Juvia is not the only one in this fight. You also get Elfman, which it kind of looks like he's also in a new outfit as well. You don't really get to see a full shot of him, but he's taking over Hot Eye's fight. And yet another Fairy Tail member joining the fray is Mira, also in a brand new outfit, which I also really enjoy her new outfit here. And Mira is taking up Angel's fight, which actually is going to be kind of cool that Mira unintentionally is going to get more power-ups again, because she got buffed with Tartaros, being able to absorb those demons. And if these are all demons from the Book of Ferris, I wonder if she's able to absorb them as well. Which is at the same time when you cut back over to Zero and he's just complaining like, man, I only want to deal with Fairy Tail and like no one's here. Like, what am I gonna do about this? I just killed my son. You get someone in the background saying, what are you saying about Fairy Tail? And it turns out it's Gajeel, also in a brand new outfit. I actually quite love the end line here because Zero sees Gajeel and he's like, oh, that's that dude from Phantom. He's like, wait, what's that emblem on your arm? So I kind of love the idea that Zero knew of Gajeel's reputation in Phantom, but still didn't know that he joined Fairy Tail. Also, Gajeel, in a weird way, kind of reminds me of Wolverine in this outfit. And with that, it is the end of this chapter, so my thoughts. I think the Brain Zero personality swap was such a freaking refreshing twist for that fight. And honestly, I just think Midnight and Zero's fight was pretty dang good. And honestly, Midnight losing that, honestly not too shocking, especially with the Zero brain twist. Now, how did all the Fairy Tail members get here? I have no idea. It's never explained as to how they got here. Now, everyone having brand new outfits, very cool. I kind of love that we're finally getting some new outfits for the rest of the guild. I'm actually very excited for Gajeel versus Zero, and you dang well know he's going to throw comparisons into Natsu fighting Zero, like how fast did Natsu beat him, because I need to beat that. I'm also kind of curious as to how Gajeel's going to beat him, because I honestly feel like Gajeel's going to win this fight. Like, I don't feel like he's going to lose to Zero. And especially for how cocky he looks at the end of this chapter, I definitely feel Mira is also winning her fight no problemo. And I'd also say the same thing for Juvia. Elfman, I mean, maybe iffy, but he's been training a lot, probably. Overall, I actually really enjoyed the fight in this chapter, and I also really enjoyed the additional Fairy Tail members coming in for backup. So what are your guys' thoughts on this chapter? Leave in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and this is Drago, signing out.